Welcome everybody. This relax and stretch class is designed for anyone out there who's been crafting a lot lately, working with their hands, crochet, knitting, cross stitch, painting, a lot of sitting. So those of you that might be experiencing some tightness in hip flexors, maybe some more overly rounded shoulders, you're feeling kind of hunched over, some tightness in the neck, the wrists, the hands, that kind of thing. I will be using props for this class, some blocks and some bolsters and a blanket. If you don't have these things at home, one option, I am renting them out. So just until supplies last, if you would like to get a setup, just contact me directly and I'm happy to figure out a way to get the props to you. If you don't have anything for this class at home right now, just a couple of blankets and some pillows, just anything that you can kind of prop yourself up with will be helpful. So take your time to find those items if you need. And we'll start our practice off just in a seated position, sitting up on a blanket if you have one, or maybe a pillow, just something that you can find a bit of elevation in your hips to allow the knees to soften down towards the ground. So let's start by closing down the eyes and allowing the hands to rest comfortably on the thighs or the knees, palms facing the earth. Now elevate up and out of your hips, so as the hips root down, let the side of the body get longer. The shoulder blades come just slightly towards one another as the heart becomes more expansive and receptive to the breath. Inviting your awareness to move inwards. Just taking notice of how you're feeling in this moment. Parts of your body that are feeling maybe a little bit tense or sore. Noticing any emotions that are present. And what thoughts are on repeat in your mind? Or do your thoughts seem to jump from situation to circumstance and back and forth and all over the place? Just becoming very interested in what's happening internally. I want to acknowledge that at this time, many of us are probably feeling some anxiety, some stress, maybe feeling lonely, and worried about a number of different things. There's kind of a heaviness out there right now, globally. I think we're all feeling it, whether it's directly affecting you or someone very close to you, or just that the whole world is affected in one way or another. Just acknowledging that we are all experiencing a lot of emotions, and sometimes it can be very overwhelming. Our minds try to rationalize, but then our feelings take over, and it's kind of a perpetual circle of overwhelm to underwhelm. I don't know. It seems very, it's a question mark. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know a lot of things right now. But what we do know and what we can control is how we perceive the world around us, and this ability to connect with our breathing and what's happening internally. So let's take this opportunity to honor whatever there is, whatever's happening, and just bathe it with compassion and love and patience and acceptance and trust. Not to say that the feelings of anxiety and worry are not valid, they are, but to just bathe them, to kind of sandwich them between the patience, the acceptance, the love, the trust. So slowly, now you can keep your eyes closed if you like, or gently blink them open. Begin to take some soft movements with your head. You can just gently roll the head back and forth. And as you're doing this, really keeping this attention inwards, feel the sensation of stretch as it shifts, as it moves, as it transitions from one side of the neck to the other. As you're keeping your attention inwards, you might like to set a little intention for your practice. Maybe this time on your mat you can really just dedicate to staying present in the moment. So if the mind does wander, you can gently bring it back. Just remind those busy thoughts to slow down a touch. If you've been going in a circular motion with your head, you can start to roll the other way. If you've been taking U shapes, you can just continue at your own pace and rhythm, pausing anywhere that feels good for you. Once you feel pretty satisfied with the movement of the neck, you can start to bring it to stillness. Allow your shoulders to shrug up towards your ears on an inhale. Exhale through the mouth, let the shoulders drop. Inhale, shoulders shrug up towards the ears. Exhale, they drop. And one more time. Inhale, shrug them up. Exhale, drop. Inhale to reach the arms up towards the sky. Big stretch here through the side body. As you exhale, cactus through your elbows. So the elbows will bend, the fingers will spread, the palms face forward, the shoulders roll back, the heart opens. As you breathe in, the arms reach back up. Take hold of your thumbs, so clasping the thumbs, keeping the palms facing forward, rolling the shoulders back, opening up through the chest, allowing the ribs to splay open a bit, so you're arching a bit through your back, opening up through the front of the body. Take a nice deep breath in here. As you exhale, let your hands release behind your back. The fingertips are going to come down to the floor, so maybe one hand comes down first and then the other. Just walk your hands as close towards one another as they can go. If your hips are elevated on something, it might be more challenging for the hands to touch the floor, so just maneuver as you need, make adjustments as you see fit. And then again, opening up through the front of the body, so shoulder blades come closer together. Your gaze can go up, or you can keep your chin towards your chest, whatever you prefer. Take one more breath here. One at a time, you can bring your hands to your knees and allow your back to gently round. So holding onto the knees, pointing your tailbone forward, rounding through the back. gazing down. As you breathe in, bring yourself to neutral. Switch the cross of your legs. If you've been sitting cross-legged for a little bit of time, just swap them out. Let your right hand come down to the floor beside you or fingertips. Inhale, float your left arm up towards the sky so you can see your palm. As you exhale, take a side bend over towards the right, just down as far as what feels good for you. We're going to pause here. So maybe your elbows on the ground, maybe your palms on the floor, whatever works for you. Now as you breathe in, think about opening your chest up towards the sky so your shoulder will roll slightly back, maybe the gaze will lift. As you exhale, the gaze can come down as the shoulder kind of rolls forward. As you breathe in, the shoulder rolls back, the heart opens, the gaze lifts. Exhale, the shoulder rolls down, the gaze goes down. Try to keep both of your hips nice and rooted on the ground. Let's go one more time. Just opening up, shoulder blades closer together. Exhaling, rounding down. As you round down, your left hand can find the floor. Just start to walk your hands all the way to center. Walking your hands as far forward is what feels good for you. So again, the hands might just be on the floor, maybe the elbows on the ground. You could stack your fists one on top of the other, let your forehead come down. Maybe your arms can reach forward, forehead to the ground. Take one more breath wherever you are. And then as you breathe in, start to walk yourself up so you're in a neutral position. Let your hands come together at your heart and interlace your fingers. Begin to press your palms forward and then up towards the sky as you breathe in, and then pause here as you breathe out. Taking a small circular motion through the arms, so you can let your ribs kind of move around as well. Doesn't matter which direction they start to go first because we will switch. So just freeing up a little bit of space through the side body, the chest, the upper back. You can move the head around a little bit as well if you like. And then just switch the direction of your circles. Don't worry what this looks like. If it doesn't look really graceful or fluid, it doesn't matter. If you're feeling some sensation rolling through the body, you're doing yoga, you're doing it right. One more circle around this way. And then once that's complete, take another breath and press through the palms. As you exhale, let your hands come again behind your back. The fingertips can come to the floor one at a time, and you'll slowly start to walk your hands closer towards one another, opening up through the chest again. Rolling your shoulders towards one another. You can look wherever feels comfortable for you. Take one more breath. One at a time, the hands can come back to the knees, rounding through your back. Once again, as you come back to neutral, switch the cross of your legs. Your left hand will now come down towards the floor or fingertips, inhaling to reach your right arm up towards the sky so you can see your palm. As you exhale, start to walk your left hand down any amount. You can stay more high, you can go lower, whatever works for your body. Taking a moment here to open up through the front of the body. So as you breathe in, you're opening your chest. Your right shoulder can move slightly back. And as you exhale, the gaze could come down, gazing down towards the floor, letting the shoulder round forward. As you breathe in, open back up. And as you exhale, round down. So you're staying in the side bend, but you're just kind of rolling that top shoulder open and forward. And the next time that you come forward and down, the gaze will be at the floor, the right hand will plant, and start to walk yourself again to the center position. Maybe the hands are on the floor, maybe the elbows, maybe the forehead. On your next breath in, slowly start to walk yourself back up. As you arrive, both of your legs will extend out in front of you, giving them a little bit of movement as you first arrive. So you can point and flex through your toes, and give your knees a little shake side to side, just giving yourself a little bit of a release after sitting cross-legged for a little bit of time. Good. And we'll start to extend the legs out wide. So the right leg to the right, the left leg to the left. Doesn't need to be the biggest splits position of all time, but just ensuring that you're getting some stretch on those inner thighs. We're going to move a little bit dynamically. So you're going to turn towards your right leg. If it's comfortable to reach your arms up into the air, we'll do that. If not, just keep your fingertips on the floor. So inhale, either fingertips stay on the ground or arms reach up. As you exhale, fold over your right leg. As you inhale, bring yourself back up. You're going to turn towards your left leg. Maybe the arms reach up, maybe the fingertips stay on the floor. As you exhale, fold over your left leg. As you inhale, come on up. As you exhale, over to the right. As you inhale, come on up. Arms can stay high or reach high, or they can stay on the floor. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, walk up, arms towards sky or fingertips on floor. Exhale to the right, fold over your leg. Inhale to come up, again fingertips on floor or arms up. Turn to the left, exhale over the leg. Next time that you're over to the right, we're going to pause there, so take your time to get there. Folding over your right leg and just staying for a few breaths. Your knees might be bent here, that's okay. Try to keep your feet flexed so the toes pointing towards the sky. You can gradually start to fold a little bit further down. You might be feeling a pretty intense stretch in your low back, maybe your hips, your hamstrings. So just tuning into your experience. Let's take one more breath here. On your next inhale, you can walk yourself back up, turn towards your left leg. Maybe the arms reach, maybe the fingertips stay on the floor. As you exhale, fold over your left leg. Just a few moments here. The knees, again, they can be slightly bent. Might be in complete stillness or just finding, a little bit of movement. Never a bad thing. And one side of your body might feel quite different than the other, so just being very aware. If you need to modify or do something different from one side to the next, that's totally fine. Let's take one more breath. Slowly start to walk yourself back up. Once you arrive, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together so you can help your knees out one knee at a time. Bring your hands behind the knee, bring the sole of the foot to the center, and then opposite knee, sole of the foot to the center. Just letting the knees open up. And depending on how your groin and your hip flexors are feeling, you could bring your heels closer towards your body if you like. That's going to give you a little bit more of a stretch on that inner area. Or if you're wanting to gain a little bit more stretch for your hamstrings, the feet can go further away. So you can play around what feels best for you. Now as you arrive, we're going to pause here for just a little bit of time and play with some wrist mobility and movement. So just finding a little bit of a circle with your hands. Or your wrists, rather. Your hands can be really relaxed. They don't need to be in any particular position. Your fingers can be wiggling. They can be just really passive. Try to imagine that you're sitting up against a wall. So your shoulders are over your hips. You can close your eyes and just feel into the sensation in your body. How it shifts and changes. Now start to roll your wrist the opposite way. So you relax through the face and the neck as best you can. Great, and then make fists with your hands, bringing your thumb on the inside, quite a tight fist, and then start to roll your wrists again. Might feel quite a bit different this time. You want to go slow enough that you can feel. So, fast is one thing, but Going slow so you can really feel what's going on in your wrists. Start to go the other way. Keep the fist, so a little bit of intention to hold that fist in a pretty tight fist. Good. One more big circle around. Let your hands go for a little bit of a shake. And then reach your right hand in front of you like you're saying stop. Your left hand's going to come to the fingers, the front of the fingers, and just gently pull back. So you're stretching out the palm of your hand and the forearm, or the bottom of the forearm rather, and the wrist. Your elbow can bend a little bit, but try to keep it fairly straight, shoulders away from the ears. And we're going to take that the opposite position, so pressing the back of the hand towards the forearm, so stretching out the top of your forearm and your wrist. Just enough of a pressure that you're feeling it. It's not too much, it's not too little. Flip your palm back up again like you're saying stop. Pull just back on your index finger just for a second. And then your middle finger. And then your ring finger. And then your pinky finger. And then your thumb. And then flip the hand down, pull back on your index finger, your middle finger, your ring finger, and your pinky finger. And then your thumb. Give your hand a little bit of a shake, and then take your right hand, or your left hand, sorry, out in front of you like you're saying stop. Pull all the fingers back, so the palm of the hand, the bottom of the wrist, getting a nice stretch, shoulders away from the ears, sitting nice and tall. Just a soft bend in the elbow. Then switching, so the palm of the hand is facing towards the forearm, so you're pulling back on the hand, so the top of the wrist, the top of the forearm is getting a stretch, and all the while we're sitting nice and tall, we're staying smooth with the breath, relax through the face, you can even have your eyes closed, and just allowing those hips to open. Flipping the palm up so you're saying stop again, pulling back on the index finger. And then the middle finger. And then the ring finger. And the pinky finger. And the thumb. Not so much that it's painful, of course, just enough that you're feeling a stretch. And then bringing the hand down, pulling back on the index finger. On the middle finger. On the ring finger. On the pinky finger. And then on the thumb. Good, give that hand a shake, give both of your hands a shake. From here, we're going to extend the legs out in front of us again, so you can draw the knees in, extend the legs out, give them a little bit of movement, roll through the ankles one way and the other, little point and flex of the toes, bending through the knees. We'll be coming onto our hands and knees from here, coming into tabletop. So if you like a little additional cushion underneath your knees, if you have a blanket or a towel handy, you can use it underneath your knees. As we come onto our hands and knees, we're going to work a little bit more into the wrists. So, hands underneath the shoulders, the fingers spread super duper wide. Start to put pressure into the tips of your fingers and see if you can lift the palm or the heel of your hand up. So just your fingers are on the floor, and then lower back down with control. So lifting up and lowering down. Up and down. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Okay. Turn your right fingers to the right and your left fingers to the left, and just shift your weight forward, or side to side rather, over towards the right and the left. Now for many of us, this might feel intense. So if that is happening for you, you could walk your hands further away from one another so they're wider than shoulder distance. That's going to take a little bit of the intensity keep the pressure off. Or if you are quite flexible in your wrist, or if you're just wanting a deeper stretch, the inner wrist can come closer together. So more narrow than the shoulders. Continuing that little shift side to side. Fingers are spread super wide. Just listening to the body here. So if at any time it's too much, you can back off one more time each way. Good, and then turning the hands even more, so the fingers are pointing towards the knees on both hands, if that's available for you. If not, you can stay with the hands pointing, towards the opposite wall. But if you can get the fingers to point towards the knees, pause here, and either find stillness or a little shift of your weight forward and back. So you can bend through the elbows, see how that feels. You can straighten through the arms, see how that feels. And just be very aware of what is happening in your body so you can move with safety and intention, and make sure that what you're doing is feeling good for you. Let's take one more little shift forward and back if you're connecting to that. We want to come off of the hands really slowly here, so you can start to spin them back forward. And then come off of your hands. You can sit back on your heels for a second, give your hands a little bit of a shake. Almost done with all this wrist work. Almost. You're going to take the backs of the hands down to the floor. So your fingers are pointing towards your knees again, and the palms of your hands are pointing towards the sky. Now, I want you to bend your elbows and bring your chest down towards the floor, and then straighten your arms. Bend your elbows so the chest comes down to the floor, and then straighten your arms. When you're bending your elbows, they're going out, so like you're doing a push-up kind of. Couple times. You can press the backs of your hands into the floor. So spreading the fingers and pressing the hands into the floor. Let's go one more time. And then as you come up, you can stay or draw little circles with your torso. So you're kind of massaging the top of your wrist, the back of your hand. Depending on how flexible your wrists are and your joints, this might be extremely, you might be feeling an extreme amount of sensation, and that's normal. Start to go the other way. If it feels like there's a very limited amount of movement here, that's totally fine. Just do your best. It doesn't need to look like anything in particular, just as long as you're feeling some sensation of stretch. And then once that feels about complete for you, come off of your hands again. Give them a shake, give them a wiggle, roll your shoulders, and then come onto your hands again. Regular tabletop position. We won't be here for long. Take your knees just a little bit wider than hips distance with your big toes touching. And then on an inhale breath, start to reach your right arm up towards the sky. So your chest is opening, you're rolling your shoulder blades towards one another. It's as if you could touch a cloud. So you're really reaching that right arm up and just slightly back. And as you exhale, take your right arm, sweep it underneath your body, like there's a piece of dust underneath you and you want to move it out of the way. So push it away, lower your right shoulder down just for a moment. And then as you inhale, reach your right arm back up into the air, opening the chest. As you exhale, sweep. As you inhale, reach back. As you exhale this time, we're going to sweep and then stay. So as your right shoulder comes down to the floor, the right side of the head will be on the ground, maybe the ear, the temple. You can keep the left hand on the floor, or the left arm can reach up towards the sky. You could also take the left hand onto the low back if that feels good for you. Some people like that variation. It's not my favorite, so I'm not going to do it. You can press down into the back of your right hand and kind of shift your weight a little bit to the left. So, or your left arm a little bit more towards the left, just so you're kind of feeling that your right shoulder blade is coming away from your spine. So the more your chest is towards the ground, the lesser sensation. The more your shoulders are stacked, the more sensation. So just pause for another breath. And then on an inhale, we'll slowly start to unwind. reaching the right arm back up into the air, opening up through the chest. As you exhale, let the right hand come down to the floor. Walk your knees so they're side by side and come down onto your heels for a moment. If sitting on your heels is not appropriate for you, if it doesn't feel good for your knees, you can come to a kneeling position, that's totally fine. When you take your right hand, bring it behind you and hold on to your right wrist. Gently pull your right wrist over towards the left side of your body, so you're just opening your right shoulder, an internal rotation, and feeling a nice stretch there. You let your left ear come down towards your left shoulder, and just take a moment to breathe. So from a back view, just taking the wrist over. Take one more breath here. Then as you come back to neutral, the gaze is going to face forward. You'll interlace your fingers and draw your knuckles down, open up through the chest. Roll your shoulders back. Take a nice deep breath in. Stay for the breath out. And gently release. Give your hands a little shake, and we're going to take it to the other side. So as you're ready, your knees are going to come to be about the distance of your mat apart. Your big toes touching. Your right hand will be on the floor this time, and we'll start to sweep the left arm up towards the sky. Taking a nice deep breath in. So you're opening up through the chest, your left shoulder's rolling back, you're reaching towards the ceiling and even a little bit further back if you can. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, the left hand's going to sweep underneath your body, reaching towards the right, lowering the left shoulder down just for a moment. As you inhale, unwind, lift the left arm back up into the air, big stretch. As you exhale, sweep it under. Last time here, inhale, reach the arm up. And exhale, sweep it under. This time we're staying. So as the shoulder comes down, you're finding that nice twist. You can find the variation that feels good for you. Maybe the right arm lifts. And just one more breath here. If your right hand is lifted, bring it back down to the floor. Slowly start to press into it so you can begin to unwind, lifting the left arm back up towards the sky, opening up through the chest. As you exhale, the left hand can come to the floor again. Take your knees so they're underneath your hips. You can sit on your knees or your heels, or you can just come into a kneeling position. Your left hand's going to come behind your back. Your right hand's going to hold on to the wrist and just gently pull the wrist over towards the right side of your body. So you're feeling kind of a sensation of stretch on that inner kind of shoulder area. You begin to lean your head over towards the right. Take another breath here. And then both of your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, draw your shoulder blades together, lift your heart. Take a deep breath in. A full breath out. Gently release, give your hands a little shake. And we'll come onto our back. We're going to be using our bolsters here for some support. So if you have bolsters at home, you'll want to have your smaller one close by and then your larger one towards the bottom of your mat. If you don't have bolsters, this isn't a huge inconvenience. However, you will want something. So whether that be 2 pillows or a pillow and a blanket or a couple of towels, something along those lines. So once you find your way down onto your back, you can first just bring your knees in towards your body, give yourself a little hug, a little squeeze. You can rock a little bit side to side. down to the floor and then use the smaller bolster if you have one, or again, a pillow will do just fine. Something that when you elevate your hips and you slide it underneath your low back, you have a little bit of lift here. So coming into our supported bridge pose for a moment, just making sure that the support that you have is feeling fairly comfortable underneath your hips, your sacrum, your low back. And then the soles of the feet can come together and the knees can splay open. So again, opening up through those hip flexors and the groin, letting the shoulder blades come a little closer together. You have some options. The arms can rest by your side. You bring your hands over your belly. The arms can come out into a T shape or a cactus through the elbows, bending them. Just welcoming some space into the front of the body. Let this be a passive opening, so gravity is what's taking over here. There's no force. And let your body kind of sink into the shape. If you like, you can stay just as you are, or you could extend your legs out long. So if you're taking that option, just making sure that as the legs open up, they're opening up wider than your hips, so you're not in a really narrow stance. Your legs are maybe even off your mat, and your legs are relaxed. So the knees are soft, the feet are flopping. You're allowing the space to come into your psoas, the hip flexors, just letting them to be soft and passive here. A couple of breaths. Paying attention to your exhale. Just maybe allowing it to be just a little bit longer than the inhale. Very, very slowly, we'll start to bring our feet to the floor. So just one at a time, bend a knee, plant the foot on the ground, take a moment, take a breath. And then bend the other knee, planting the foot on the floor, take a moment, and a breath. And press into the feet, elevate the hips just enough to slide whatever it is that you have underneath you out of the way. And lower your hips back down. Give yourself a little squeeze. You can draw your knees in towards your chest. Rock your body a little bit side to side. Great. And then let your feet come back down to the ground again. If you are just working with one bolster, that's totally fine. You're just going to want to have it closer towards you. If you've got that bigger one, you might want to have it just a little bit closer so it's in reaching distance. You're going to move your hips just a little bit over towards the right. Wiggle your feet over to the right. And then cross your right ankle over top of your left thigh. Pause here for a moment. And then begin to let your legs fall over towards the left. This is where the bolster might be handy, or the blanket, or just something to kind of prop your legs up against. So it's something comfortable to land on. Just a couple of breaths. If you're really enjoying this position, if this is feeling really nice, really cozy, really relaxing, stay here. To move into a bit of a deeper twist, you'll start to straighten your left leg, roll more onto your left hip, and let your right knee, the inner knee and the inner shin, rest upon your bolster, or it can hang out in space. If you don't have a bolster, you can still do this. It's going to feel a little bit different. Try to keep both of your shoulders on the ground. If it feels like your right shoulder's kind of lifting a bit, you could slide a blanket underneath, or just encourage the shoulder to be heavy towards the ground. Your gaze could be up towards the sky, or you can take a little peek over to the right. Now, one more option here, if you're comfortable, please stay. If you'd like to encourage more sensation, so this is a pretty relaxing position. If you want it to be a bit more intense, you could start to bend your bottom knee. So your left knee is going to bend. Your right hand can come towards the toes of the left foot if you can reach. And you can gently pull your left heel towards your bum. So you'll be stretching more through, again, that hip flexor, your psoas, while you're in this twist. This is completely optional. If it doesn't feel good for you, if it feels like you're straining to hold onto the foot, just gently release. A couple more breaths here. If you're holding on to the foot, gently begin to release. Slowly we'll start to unwind, coming back to center. Just moving slowly and gently, no rush. As you get to the middle, realign your hips, and if you're working with a bolster, you can start to kind of move it to the other side, just with as little effort as possible. Use your feet. Draw your knees in, give them a little squeeze. Let your feet come back down to the ground. Again, you're going to lift your hips up and move them this time to the left just a little bit. And shuffle your feet a bit to the left too. Your left ankle will cross over top of your right thigh. Pause. And slowly let your legs get heavy over towards the right. And again, this is where a bolster can be nice. If you don't have one, it's okay. Close your eyes. Keep your attention inwards. If you start to notice that your mind drifts and gets attached to a thought, you can just be aware of that. And then with a gentle hand, you can lead it back to this moment, to the sensations that you're feeling, to the smoothness and rhythmicness of your breath. Rhythmic. If you're happy how you are in this position, feel free to stay. If you'd like to come into a deeper twist, the right leg will begin to straighten as you roll to the right hip. The left knee can be just placed on the bolster if you have one, the inner shin. The left shoulder, again, can be resting just gently on a blanket or something comfortable. If it feels like it's lifting up, you can put something underneath it or just let it be heavy down towards the ground. Gaze wherever you like. Soften your eyes and your jaw. Soften your hands and your feet. stay here, or you can start to bend your right knee more. Take your left hand to the toes. If you can reach with a little effort, gently pull the heel towards the bum. Just finding a bit of a stretch for your hip flexor, your psoas. Just ensuring that you're not adding tension in. You want to feel stretch without strain. Just a couple more breaths here. If you have hold of your foot, gently release. Slowly and gently begin to unwind. Take your time. And bring your knees in towards your body. One more final squeeze here. And any last movements that your body is asking for. If you have a bolster or a couple of pillows, it might feel nice to have your knees resting upon them. So as we transition into Shavasana, having the knees elevated can feel a lot more comfortable for the low back for many of us, so you can take that option if you like. Let your hands rest down on your belly or over your heart space. Feel the breath as it comes and goes. Please stay here for as long as you need. When you are ready to enter into the rest of your day, or maybe climb into bed and go to sleep, just take your sweet time to come out of the shape. You find your way to a seat, and close your eyes for just a few moments and let everything that you've just done here on your mat really absorb in and sink in. For yourself a few moments of gratitude. Sending so much love your way. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.